to The Coffee Grind with the Denton Chamber of Commerce, powered in part by Classic of Denton.
Good morning, Denton. My name is Travis Vaselka. I'm the Director of Membership and Marketing for the Denton Chamber of Commerce. And with me is my trusty co-host.
Good morning, Denton. My name is Randy Skinner. I serve on the Chamber Board of Directors, and as a member, I represent Denton County Friends of the Family.
And you're watching the Denton Chamber Coffee Grind. We're recording live inside the DentonRadio.com studio, inside of the Discover Denton Welcome Center in historic downtown Denton.
Yes.
We're here to...
A lot of Dentoning.
That's a lot of alliteration for you.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, you like that? So we're here to keep you up to date with what's happening in the business community, highlighting featured initiatives and events from the Denton Chamber of Commerce. And today, we're going to be talking to Jen Peace about Leadership Denton.
Hello.
And a very special kind of thing that's happening this year. So Jen, welcome.
Welcome.
Glad to have you here.
Is this your first time on? I think it's your first time on the Coffee Grind, or did you come on? It is.
First time on the Coffee Grind.
All
yes.
right, welcome. We don't give you anything for coming on.
That's
for the
okay.
first
I was
time.
hoping there'd be like a cool mug or
Right?
something. But
I
I
know.
mean, this works
Sorry.
too.
Write that down. We got to get you
Yes,
one of those.
we are accepting donations for mugs.
Okay.
If someone would like to, facilitate the muggage.
The muggage. So Jen,
Mug fund.
The mug fund. I like that too. You're an executive admin with Orison Holdings. You're on the steering committee for Leadership Denton. You're a Leadership Denton graduate from, remind me, which year?
It's the 30th class.
The 30th
So 4
class.
years
That
ago.
was
Who all was
just a
in
few
your
years
class?
ago.
You had
Forrest Beadle,
Okay.
who's now a judge.
Yes.
Yes.
So great things can
Judge
happen.
Yeah,
Forrest
snaps to him.
Beadle.
So, yeah.
Making real leaders.
That's all right.
Yes. 'Cause y'all had a really good
Paul
group.
Bastish with
Okay.
the veterans.
Veterans.
We did. We had
Yeah.
we were our class project was downtown parking, and we totally fixed
you
it.
fixed
So
it.
you're welcome.
Clearly, your group is
Yes.
superior.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
There was some actually very sound
Some ideas.
solutions
Yes.
Yeah.
in that project.
Was back-end parking one of the solutions?
Actually, that happened right before
That's right,
we
I
got the
remember that,
project. So
yes.
we were afraid people would blame us for that.
We're-
So we had to make sure that we made that distinction. But
Yes. I like the back-end parking.
like the back-end
I don't
if I
parking,
know
didn't
why
have a
everybody's so
camera,
upset.
our backup camera, I wouldn't
Oh.
attempt it. But
It's very easy when you have a backup camera.
Yeah, when you have a
Extremely
backup
easy.
camera.
And the little
It's-
lines that help guide you.
It's really not that hard without one. Like,
I'll trust you on that.
So, all
I
right.
have one now. But
Oh, good.
Yes, sir.
Good for
Yes.
you. Leadership Denton. This year, you proposed an idea for them.
Yeah.
That at each session they would be able to kind of work on a leadership development type of initiative
Yes.
for the project, or not the project. Sorry, for the run of the program.
yes.
for the class time.
Yeah.
We had gotten several
Yeah,
feedback
a
from
lot of
previous
feedback.
years that something that they would like to see fleshed out a little bit more is the actual leadership development part of Leadership Denton.
Yeah.
And so I had proposed one of the projects, which was this civil discourse kind of idea. And instead of choosing that for the project, we decided to kind of make it like a side thing as part of the leadership development
So
part.
it got in.
It still got
anyway.
in a
I
little
like
bit.
it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the civil discourse thing as it had been kind of, well, not proposed, but what's the initial idea?
Sure. My initial idea when I made the proposal was this idea of make Denton civil again, just because of the nature of the world today, not just
Yeah.
Denton,
Local
but it's
politics and
local
things.
politics and just things happening in our state and in our country, and just the way people are treating each other, the way
Right.
we're not communicating anymore, especially in politics. I thought it would be a good idea to bring people together and teach people who want to be leaders in this community how to engage in conversation and how to
Yes.
have those difficult and controversial, because there's always going to be issues and there's always going to be people that don't agree with you. And so just, standing and shouting or, plugging your ears and going la 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 la.
That's not the greatest
it's not
methodology.
no, it's not. So I thought it would be a good idea to equip them with tools and ideas of how they can better communicate.
That's awesome. So give us a little bit of a taste of what the civil discourse kind of looks like.
Sure.
in this
When I
form.
went to research it, because I
Yeah.
don't know everything there is about civil discourse and how to engage. I mean, obviously I've had conversations with people where I get heated and I get upset and angry, and you have to think
As
and
do
you have
we
to step.
all?
Of course,
Yeah.
it's a human nature. It's a human
Never.
nature
Oh, wait.
thing.
Never.
So,
No.
so I did
Very low-key person.
I did some. I did some
Both of
research.
y'all's faces. That's so not fair.
Yeah.
I went online, as everybody does when you're doing research
Yes,
these days.
to
And
the Google.
You
I
Googled it.
Googled, you know, civil discourse. And the thing that popped up was this National Institute for Civil Discourse, which is actually created in Tucson, Arizona, and it's part of University of Arizona. And it was created in 2011 after the shooting. Where
Oh,
Gabrielle
gosh, yeah.
Giffords was wounded and 7 people or 6 people were
remember
killed
that.
in that. So they started this institute where, you know, people could vent their frustrations and figure out better ways to communicate and find ways to get their point across instead of shooting up a crowd, you know.
Right.
Right, exactly. And, you know, unfortunately, since 2011, we haven't really seen, you'd like to say that we've solve that problem and we no longer see those things happen, but they do.
Right.
So anyway, I went online there and was reading about this institute and their viewpoints and all of the politicians and the newscasters and the people that support that initiative and that are on the board or on the advisory board. And it's amazing to see, and people you really respect and admire. Actually, the late George Bush was one of their people that was, you know, in the very beginning. So, anyway, they had this thing called the 7-day civility challenge. So I clicked on that and it had 7 different points and different activities or different exercises to go through. And it just so happened that we have 7-day sessions for Leadership Denton. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can take ideas from this and I can kind of weave in some other leadership, you know, development lessons and things and kind of mesh them all together. So I took some of the ideas from that and started fleshing it out. So.
That's cool. So you do kind of a more deep dive into each one of the 7 points that they kind of suggested.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and like the first one was taking a pledge, just understanding what the whole thing would look like. And it just basically would say, you know, to seek out reliable news sources, to look at varying news sources.
Right.
Don't just watch one network because then you're only going to get one side of the story, and try to open yourself up to other opinions that way.
Of course,
instead, you know, and try to surround yourself with people who don't always agree with you.
So you get a spectrum of opinions and things.
Which is really fitting for Leadership Denton because it's essentially there's 18. So it's 18 people and certainly they don't all have the same viewpoints. And so it's been a really fitting conversation because it's such a good group to kind of almost
test it out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like practice these efforts and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really incredible. And so how would you say, I mean, feel free to answer this however you like, but how would you say it's progressing at this point?
I think it started out a little hard, you know what I mean? Because you explain this whole thing you want to do, and I'm super excited about it because it's what I'm kind of passionate about, you know what I mean? And trying to convey that to them, like, this is going to be fun. And they're just like, okay, you know. And I prepared them and told them, you know, it's not always going to just be like a lesson or whatever. Like, I might send you some homework, like watch some videos, which was the one that they really enjoyed because there were some videos in one of the days. One of them was Katie Couric talking about someone she admired greatly that she doesn't agree with politically. You know what I mean? And thinking about those people in your lives that still have that integrity. Someone that you can respect but yet disagree with, and how important that is.
It's very civil. I love it.
Amazing.
I see it all happening.
Fleshing out.
We have
Danielle says, OMG, it's Jen Peace.
Oh, looky there. Yeah.
Y'all, she's just really awesome. Jen is
your
awesome.
fan club is on.
Thank you, Danielle.
We think
Hi,
so
Jason.
too. Jason, are you still out on the sidewalk right outside this building?
Are you
sidewalk talking?
I'm scoping around.
I don't see him. He was like further down earlier. So,
but one of the greatest videos I think that was on there. Well, there were 3. The Katie Couric one, and there was the TED Talk with the 2 ladies who voted differently in this past election, and they were like best friends. Yeah. And one of them, you know, went one way and one went the other, and having them understand each other, and like, how in the world could you vote for her? How in the world could you vote for him? And then, but what they came to agreement on was that they're both mothers and they both really want what's best for their family. And, you know, you have to find those commonalities.
Absolutely.
And that's what that other video, which I found fascinating, it was like an animated video, and you can YouTube it if you go out there. And the title of it is Why Facts Don't Convince People. And it talks about how we were born to be tribal. We weren't born to listen to statistics and believe facts. We were born to belong to a group. And that's where we find our commonalities and where we find our comfort. And when someone threatens that group, you automatically get defensive.
Right,
You know?
it's your nature.
So in order to break that down is you have to find out what, I don't agree with you on this, but what do we have in common?
Right.
And start having those conversations. And then it's easier to trust each other and just realize that you're not out to get each other. You're not out to ruin each other's lives. We all want the same thing.
Chelsea Clark, love the idea of being around others with diverse views. And Veronica, I'd be very interested in watching that TED Talk. Would you share that with us? Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was it called again?
Oh, I don't
TED Talk?
remember off the
But,
top of my head.
okay,
Two
so
friends.
It's the Two Friends. It's on the, if you
Tell them where to go, like, to find all the stuff.
Yeah, if you go to the National Institute for Civil Discourse and you go to the 7-Day Civility Challenge, I think it was day 5.
Well, really, you should just do all the days.
You should.
Because,
You should just sign up and pledge to take this. It's just 7 days, and it's super easy.
You could do it all in one day if you wanted, Veronica. You're a go-getter. Go for it.
Do it in 7 hours.
Do it in 7 hours instead of 7 days.
There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's a whole wealth of resources related to this topic, and I know you kind of have honed in on some of the 7-day challenge for us. And so, what day are we technically on?
Well, I've kind of
you've
mashed
been,
them up
yeah,
too, a
mixing
little
it,
bit, like
yeah.
you
That's
know.
okay.
So I've kind of mixed and matched them together. I think we're on. How many more sessions do we have left?
Oh, I don't remember.
It's like
let's see. There's
four?
January, February, and
4
March.
left.
So I think we're 5. I think we're on 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've been kind of for Leadership Denton, like it's been split up into what's appropriate for the time that we have.
Exactly, yeah. Because I only get like 10 or 15 minutes
yeah.
at the end of every session to kind of do these. And like last for City Government Day, I had like 10 minutes where we had to go into the City Council meeting. And so it was basically just on active listening. Because a lot of times when you're sitting there having conversation with people, it's very natural to be thinking in your head what you want to say or how you want to rebuttal this or how you want to argue this point. Or so you're not even listening to what the person's saying.
You've tuned them out at that point.
Exactly.
So trying to avoid doing that.
Absolutely, and just actually listen to what the person said. So instead of trying to formulate your next thought. And I always find it fascinating. I don't know who introduced this to me, but the same words that are in the letters that are in the word listen, if you rearrange them, they make the word silent.
Oh, that's
Really.
So
Yeah, they do.
it's
Let's try that now.
it is, I promise. So you've got to make your mind silent just so you can hear, and you have to stay silent. You can't just be
Yes.
arguing and talking over people. So
indeed.
Sometimes
So
it's easier said than done.
have they gone
absolutely.
through any kind of like mock discussions with each other, or like what kind of projects have you kind of developed?
They haven't, not really yet. The like I said,
They've
the
done
one that
they've done
the one
discussions.
that prompted the most discussion was the video
videos.
one, because I think
Yeah.
they just really that drove a lot of points home, and they started thinking about things, and they're like, oh my gosh,
Especially the tribe, the video that you were talking about, the
tribal one?
What you said that was called something.
yes, that's called Why Facts Don't Convince People.
I think that one was one that really had the most conversation going because there was an echo of part of the room that was like all in, like they 100% agree with that video, and then there were even some that were like that video is not true. Like it did
facts
not.
can if,
Yeah.
if there are enough facts, it will totally turn somebody's opinion and somebody's idea, and it's like
Yeah. It was real interesting
Debatable.
because even in that, like there was still various viewpoints and
Absolutely.
thoughts and yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and like I said,
fascinating.
it's something that I'm super interested in, and how people's differences and how they view things. And so it got me. I was listening to NPR, and the author of this book called Predisposed was on, and I was like, oh, that sounds super interesting, and it's kind of like what we're talking about now, and it's basically liberals and conservatives and the biology of political differences. So it goes beyond
wow.
just how you vote. I mean,
Here's the book,
there's a
guys.
lot of yes.
We'll stand it up so people can see it.
It's fascinating. I'm
trying
and
to-
just talking about how
Get it on camera.
it digs so much
There you
deeper than just how you vote. I mean,
Right.
it's really fundamentally how people are wired and what they believe to be absolutely their truth, and they're just speaking their truth. And sometimes that truth conflicts with somebody else's truth, and it doesn't make it
Sure.
any more true to that person as it is to you.
the other,
You know, but just the differences in how. You're seriously just looking at the world differently. You're both viewing the exact same picture, piece of art, whatever it is,
Right.
but you see two completely different things.
Right.
And convincing someone that they're, that they don't, to see what you see is a lot harder than you would think.
And sometimes really unnecessary because I
Absolutely.
think, especially in like Leadership Denton, the whole purpose, right, is to cultivate and create leadership skills within this group of people, have them work on a project together, and for all of their different ideas and their different tribes, right?
Sure.
You come with your different tribe to come together, and that's what I think makes it so special. So it's been such a cool thing to see them work through.
Oh, I think so
it's
too.
been really neat.
Well, in the end, I think really the answer is compromise. And that's just something that you don't see a whole lot of anymore. It's either this side wins or this side wins.
all or
It's
nothing.
all
It's
or
never a
nothing.
blend of the
and
two.
you can't, there's no way to function in a civilized society when you have that outlook.
Very well said. I had a kind of fascinating conversation with my mother-in-law just the other day about something very similar. And my kind of take was that, the way that I see the world, it's my set of lenses. It's informed by opinions and facts and things that are in my life, but that's my set of glasses to put on.
Yep.
And when I look at the thing that you're looking at, my glasses are changing the color of it or morphing it into something. So when I see it, we're looking at the same thing, but it's how I'm seeing it as opposed to how you're seeing it. So just using the idea of this, putting on glasses, and can you take them off? Can you share them with other people? And it's like, who knows?
Yep.
If your glasses are changing colors when you see things,
It's a metaphor.
I'd like to try on your glasses.
Well, and social media has a whole other aspect of it, and that's one of the days too. Is just to really look.
Yeah, we
at
haven't gotten to that day yet, right?
and just to really look at your
excited about
social media interactions
Right.
and how you're reacting to things. And I think that
Who are you on social media?
yeah, and to be fair, I completely got off social media prior to even doing this, just because things that were happening in Denton, a little over a year ago with political races and things like that. It just got really, really tiring, and it got sad and disappointing. And my heart was hurting. My heart was hurting for my city. It really was. And that's kind of how all of this stirred up for me too, because I was like, we're better than this. I know Denton is better than this.
Yeah.
This isn't how we act. This isn't, we can do better. So.
And here's a great way to kind of help build that betterness.
Yes.
That's really cool. And this on top of, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, yeah.
So this on top of Leadership Denton having, these monthly sessions, they
Right.
last all day.
Just did the city, and economic development was before that.
Yep.
And then what do we have coming up?
County.
And then nonprofit, and then education.
Education.
And so each one of these themed days, takes fully a business kind of business hours, like 8 to 5, basically.
It's a whole day.
And they get a good orientation of like what's this topic in Denton. And so
And it doesn't even come close to telling the
yeah,
whole
you can't
story.
inc-
It's just
yeah.
a little. It's
The
a little
little layer.
taste.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little teaser. And if they find that they want to learn more about the arts culture in Denton and all of that, then they know now there's avenues I can go through to find out more
Yes.
information.
They got their foot in the door at least.
I think that's what it
Absolutely.
does too. Is it really opens up I'm very interested in this segment related to the city, or and kind of like a good starting point.
Yep.
So. Wow, I had no idea I had this much interest in economic development or city government or county or whatever it is. Like, you kind of get like a little bit of a veil lifted, because even people that have been here in Denton for their whole lives and are, seasoned career professionals with 30 plus years under their belt, they still come through and are like, I had no idea.
Yep. Absolutely.
And some things even the things that they've already experienced or had some sort of connection to, I feel like they still walk out saying,
of course.
well, I've done this 800 times, but I had no idea X, Y, and Z. So it's pretty cool to see. And it's always, every year it's something different. So if you have not graduated from Leadership Denton, you can apply, and applications aren't open, but keep an eye out, because we will start taking applications next year.
Starting early 2019.
The beginning of the year, and it's an application process. Not everybody that applies gets through.
That's right.
You're screened, you're interviewed, so it's definitely the cream that rises to the top, I will say. And Jen and I both are graduates, so
Yeah, and if you have applied in the past, don't take it as a
apply again.
Yeah, just apply again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's also about who else is applying at that same time as you. Because
Yes.
You can only take so many bankers, so
Or
many lawyers,
of
or real estate
this
agents.
one, So they really do try and get a diverse group. So if there's 5 other people very similar to you, you're not going to get in. But that's also why when you're filling out the application, talk about what makes you unique and help stand out. I think that some people don't realize like the application is actually
It
utilized.
took me like a week to fill that out. You know what I mean?
should take some
That's
time.
a good amount of time. Perfect time.
I had someone like give me the tip like before I went and filled out the application. They're like, don't just like skim through it. Take your time and really think about it, because they use that. And I'm so glad they told me, because I think otherwise I might have just been like, oh, like you just throw some answers in there and it's not like that.
That's not what
like,
they're looking for.
They read everything, and you don't know when you're on the selection committee, you don't know who it is.
Right.
Because your name's taken off. So only your answers are seen. So like
It's anonymized.
It's anonymized. It's a pretty
What
big
a
deal.
great word, anonymized.
Is that really a word?
It sure is.
I like that. I've never used that.
I'll trust you.
I
on
got
that one.
in my previous version of working at the chamber, I helped with Leadership Denton in the capacity of helping get Leadership Denton's applications and all that stuff going, and I helped anonymize the results and send them off. So
You're
I
an
was
anonymizer.
Anonymizer,
Fancy.
not the equalizer, the anonymizer.
Add that to your resume.
I'd be like, and what does this mean, Mr.
And
Visacca?
then on top of all of that, there's also a big major project that gets kind of picked every year. And, we're not going to go into that today, but just knowing that, there's a giant group project. Oh, I shouldn't say giant. It doesn't matter what size it is. It's huge.
It's not really tangible, so.
So, yeah, there's a project that gets done every year. And it's usually something centered around kind of improving Denton in some particular fashion.
Yes. And they'll be
like parking.
talking about that more.
Like the
here in
Denton
next
Welcome
couple of
Center.
months.
Yeah.
This came from.
This
the
is
Welcome Center
Leadership
is a
Denton
Leadership
vision.
Denton project.
Yes. So lots of stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that we kind of need to talk? I mean,
Did
we
we
talked
cover
about
it?
it all?
I think we covered it all. Thank you very much for having me on.
Tell us one more time where they could go to find the 7-day challenge.
You want to go to the Institute for Civil Discourse.
Perfect.
Just Google that.
So, Veronica, that's where you're going to go. Institute of Civil Discourse.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere. Randy and I are going to go through some upcoming event announcements.
Oh, good. Can I chime in whenever it's
Please
fun?
do.
Okay.
Yes. This is how we like to do that.
Yay.
Yes.
All right. So Grace Like Rain is a nonprofit here in town, and they're going to have their official grand opening and open house to welcome them as a new member of the Denton Chamber, as well as their sort of new location here in town in the Sundown Ranch neighborhood. It's on Sundown Boulevard. So if you're going down Teasley, kind of out towards Corinth, that direction, it's right behind Independent Bank. So today at 4 o'clock, they're having their ribbon cutting. And so I'll be out there. Other folk will be out there. See you all out there.
What is Grace Like Rain?
That
Do
is
you know?
a great question.
It's not on that
I know-
little
I don't know
fancy
what they
piece of
do.
paper. Sorry.
You've
but-
thrown me for a
okay.
loop.
It sounds really great, though.
Yes.
It's a new nonprofit. I'm sure they're doing something awesome.
Yeah.
I want to say they help families in a particular capacity.
Excellent.
Okay.
Just don't recall exactly.
You'll have to just go at 4 today.
There you go.
And
learn
you
more.
can learn more about it. Then we have the Texas Health Denton. Their 5th floor is opening. It's their open house and ribbon cutting. And so Texas Health is over or off of I-35.
big
And
hospital.
it's the giant hospital. You can't miss it. That is also happening today. Their main ribbon cutting is at 5 o'clock. So you could go to Grace Like Rain at 4 and then head over to Texas Health at 5. And then they'll be doing tours from 4 to 6. So it's an expansion, and they're actually having a new neonatal intensive care unit, and that's going to allow parents to stay in the same room as their NICU baby, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And then they also have new facilities for aftercare, orthopedic, bariatric surgery. So definitely plan to go out there and support and see this new innovation that's happening on the 5th floor of Texas Health.
Yeah, so the 5th floor has been there.
Yeah.
It's just not been used yet. They weren't expanding into it quite yet. And now
It was
they
haunted. No, I'm just
Are. It was haunted.
They had to have the exercise.
It really
on first.
wasn't. It
Oh,
wasn't.
jeez. They're going to love that. So
That's why it wasn't used.
December 14th, what is that, Friday, at 4 o'clock, Snelling Staffing Services will be having their ribbon cutting to celebrate their new location. So a lot of people are relocating here in town. And they will have bubbles, like champagne.
We assume that's what bubbles means.
A bubble
Yeah.
machine?
No,
That-
champagne.
Oh,
Bubble machines are neat.
a whole other meaning.
And that is located on Locust Street, so 529 North Locust.
So come join them for a champagne toast. Then we have the Your Beautiful Benefit Shop hosted with Kendra Scott. This is going to be December 21st at Mulberry Street Cantina. 20% of the purchase will go to American Cancer Society, and it's from 4 to 7. So you can come and go, stop by Mulberry Street. Kendra Scott, when she does her pop-ups, she has like the gifts that you can take home with you. So like earrings, necklace, different things. So it's a really good place for some last minute shopping if you didn't get anything for someone. And 20% goes back into the Your Beautiful fundraising event. Yes.
Look at that.
Oh, and did I forget to mention delectable door prizes?
I love it. Delectable.
I know, delectable door prizes. And it sounds like you get your name in the hat just for showing up.
Nice.
So December 21st, and you can get some last minute shopping done and support.
All right. And then on to January. On January 10th through 11th, TWU is bringing Disney Institute back to Denton. This time it's the Leadership and Employee Engagement Summit. And so I believe they're talking about these two topics. One is happening on day 1 with leadership, and then on day 2, employee engagement. And so you can get a really good early bird rate at the moment. I don't know the exact date of when that ends, but here it is. After January 4th, the rate goes to the regular rate. So if you're interested, you can certainly find it on the Denton Chamber's calendar, and you can find that on denton-chamber.org. Go to events, or you can go to TWU and find this information from their website. And
then our last chamber event is the big, or not the last ever, y'all, just like the last in these page of things, is the Business Networking Luncheon, and that is in January. It's January 11th at 11:45. It'll be held at Spring Hill Suites, and space is limited. This typically fills up, so definitely go. And in January, that's when everybody's like, oh, I'm going to really get back into it. And so this will fill up. You know they do. Oh, yeah. I'm one of those people. So
I was thinking about inviting our new police chief, Frank Dixon, to be kind of the guest speaker. So
I hope he can
tentatively, that's what's planned.
He's great.
Oh, Cheryl says hi.
Hi,
Cheryl. It's good to see you yesterday.
Nice to hear from you.
Yes.
We can't see you.
So that is January 11th. For this event or any of the other events, you go to denton-chamber.org, and you can go to the events tab and see chamber events or community events and sign up, register, learn more about it. As a chamber member, that is a perk that you have where you can post your events on the calendar as well.
All right. And then to wrap up.
Yes, our prepared fun question.
Nice. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Prepared.
Are you prepared?
Yes, I am.
Are you prepared?
What is your favorite way of dentoning?
I'm glad you asked.
Oh,
Travis.
so great. Yeah.
My favorite way of dentoning, obviously, as would most people's, is to spend time on the square.
Yes.
Like to go get coffee and
do
then
you
go
have a
to
spot?
my favorite thing Jupiter House would have been, and it will be again.
It will
January,
be, sure.
Again in January. Yes.
So excited.
So, but West Oak is awesome too.
Of course.
And great and wonderful. And you know what? I really do like going to Dick's. Like I'll go to Dick's sometimes to
Yeah.
get my breakfast.
Yeah.
And, they've got a really
And they're
great,
still 24 hours,
inexpensive,
right?
And they're 24
They
hours.
sure are.
But and then go just wandering around. Like I could spend all day in the bookstore or all day in the mini mall. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
just
wandering.
There's so many treasures.
So many treasures. So
I love it.
That's
a great way to Denton.
Denton is a treasure.
Oh,
it is.
T-shirt. Like a T-shirt.
Funny. All right. Well, thank you, Jen. I really appreciate you coming in,
thank you,
talking
Jen.
to us about civil discourse and leadership Denton. And also thank you to DentonRadio.com for their support in the production of the Chamber Coffee Grind. And for more information about the Denton Chamber of Commerce, you can find us at denton-chamber.org. You can also follow and friend us on social media. And remember to tune in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Where we'll be here.
So we'll be here next week, but then we'll probably
holidays.
Not. Probably
we're
take
not
some
around.
Holidays off. We'll let you know. But we'll be here next week.
Next week, yes.
Yes, we're here. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.